Well, the Eagles made a couple of key roster moves, including activating another player off of injured reserve. There's some weird reports surrounding Jalen Carter. Let's dive into the actual facts of the situation. And Jordan Mailata, he says it's personal on Sunday versus the Chiefs in a rematch of Super Bowl 57. I'm Thomas Mott. This is The Thomas Mott Show. You know what's really funny? While you were waiting for the Eagles bye week to finally end, get the players back in the NovaCare complex, back out onto the practice field, ESPN's Get Up was doing segments about this.
If I said Dak is the best quarterback in the NFC, what would you say?
I'd say he's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Wait, didn't Dak look terrible against the 49ers? No, never mind. He's the best quarterback in the NFC. Now, you might think that, but I'd rather agree with Desean Jackson, who said this on Twitter, quote, I think what the Eagles have done since Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have been in Philly together is special. Best record in the NFL over the past 2 years. They ballin', keep going, bring another Super Bowl to Philadelphia, end quote. Which is so true, but it's so hard for the national media just to pitch that narrative because that narrative is boring to everybody else. They'd rather try to convince you Dak Prescott is fantastic. They try to somehow, tell you that, the Bills are actually going to be just fine now that they fired their offensive coordinator, or, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I know they just lost, but maybe they're the best team in the NFL. The Chiefs, they lost to Denver, but they're still pretty good. The narrative around Philadelphia continues to make them underdogs despite having the best record in the league, and I think we can all agree it's pretty darn ridiculous. Now, the Eagles aren't worried about the smoke or all the noise. They themselves have been spending their bye week getting ready for what is a very interesting matchup against the Chiefs, including people like A.J. Brown who are in the gym putting in some work right here. How about that? Little boxing match, a little jump rope. Boy, he's looking absolutely fantastic, and he's ready for the second half of the season after what was a record-setting first half here. Can we get 2,000 likes to showcase that you guys agree that A.J. Brown is better than CeeDee Lamb? And no hate to CeeDee Lamb. The guy's a good player, but I think everyone in the NFL would take A.J. Brown over CD. Let me know if you guys agree. Now it is official, the Birds are back in the NovaCare complex as of today, but they actually won't be practicing on an actual field until Thursday. It's kind of normally how bye weeks work. Wednesdays are normally walkthroughs anyway, and so an actual practice will take place on Thursday. So I guess if you were wanting some on-the-field footage of an actual Eagle practice because you've been, deprived of it for the past couple of days, well, you got to wait till Thursday, so be sure to subscribe for that video. Now, just because the Birds weren't on the football field the past couple of days doesn't mean they weren't working to try to go ahead and get better. As Howie, Roseman and company, they worked out a plethora of free agents, including former Vikings linebacker Anthony Barr. Now, this got everybody in Philadelphia very excited until the Vikings quickly swooped in and re-signed Barr back to their roster after Jordan Hicks, the former Eagle, was confirmed out with a surgery. So it was really close, and I thought they were about to get Barr, but no cigar for the Birds. Now, it does show you that Philadelphia continues to monitor the free agent market and look for these guys who are sitting out there who might be able to help from a depth perspective at places like linebacker. And with Nakobe Dean officially out for the next few weeks, if not maybe longer, they clearly were looking to add some depth behind guys like Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow. Now, the Eagles did work out some other players who might be able to fill that one currently open spot on their practice squad, and their names you're not going to recognize, but I'll tell them to you anyway. How about Lectus Smith, who Outside DI Bird said is an intriguing name to watch as a potential backup center both in the short term and next season if Jason Kelce retires and Cam Jurgens slides into the starting spot. They also worked out Andrew Norwell, who, according to DI Birds, is obviously an experienced starter that would offer some proven depth at guard. Tyler Steen showed plenty of potential, but Sua Opeta is a bit of a one-trick pony. Finally, they worked out tight end Noah Togiai, who was formerly an Eagle just a couple of months ago, was let go, signed on other practice squad spots, and now is back. But as a tight end, he makes some sense because Philadelphia is a little bit weak there with Grant Calcaterra's head situation or the concussion situation. Obviously, no Dallas Goedert for an extended period of time. Clearly, all these things emphasize Philadelphia trying to find some depth at key spots where they've had injuries. And they did sign a center officially yesterday, as the Eagle Twitter account posted that they signed center Rosh Pierschbacher, fun last name to say, to the practice squad and released cornerback Kendall Vildor for what it's worth, although it doesn't necessarily do what we talked about earlier, and that is fill that final roster spot because they signed a center but then let go of a cornerback, and so one overall practice squad spot still remains available. Now, Howie didn't waste any time filling that final roster spot, signing the tight end Noah Togiai and also offensive lineman Lectus Smith to the practice squad, opened the 21-day practice window for safety Justin Evans, and released tight end E.J. Jenkins from the practice squad. Now, one thing to definitely keep a close eye on, especially on your Twitter feeds, are some of these fake news stories, over-dramatic stories that are coming out, like this one regarding Jalen Carter.
All right, breaking news out of Philadelphia, Center City. The Philadelphia Eagles were recently notified after their star defensive lineman, Jalen Carter, was at a downtown Center City grocery store. He went through a self-checkout line. Someone who he knows, supposedly a girlfriend of his, failed to bring out certain things. He then grabbed the bags and walked out. and was approached by security personnel. He got into some sort of argument. Eagles were called and he was released. That comes from certain police sources that I have, including the great Mark Fusetti. Eagles, this is Jalen Carter. I don't know what's going on with Jalen. I don't know if this was a misunderstanding. I'm just putting this information out there.
Now, this is from some Twitter account called Jeff Nadu. I have absolutely no idea who this is. Always be wary of fans with sources. But there are other people like Philly Samus who said, guess over $21 million over 4 years isn't enough for at Jalen Carter from the Eagles. Jalen and his girlfriend caught stealing in City Center at Visit Philly at Target. Police had Carter in custody, but later released at NFL, at TMZ, at ESPN, at NFL Network, at Barstool, at NFL Commish, at Sports Radio WIP. Geez, did you tag enough people there, buddy? And at first you go, oh my gosh, Jalen Carter, he was held in police custody. Oh my goodness, what's going on? But then you realize that was over, 20 hours ago, 24 hours ago? And there's been zero actual reporting on the Jalen Carter situation. And let me ask you this. If Jalen Carter was actually held in police custody, whether it was his fault or not, which we'll talk about in a second, do you think that there would be zero stories about it? All the beat writers in Philadelphia would be clamoring to be the first on this story, and yet it's been crickets for almost 24 hours. Plus, it seems like it's not really a major issue, maybe one of those self-checkout problems. Here, use a self-checkout machine. I mean, they're absolutely ridiculous. And there's someone named Sergeant Mark on Twitter who said, here's the incident. Self-checkout girlfriend failed to ring up stuff. He, Jalen Carter, grabbed bags and went to walk out. They stopped him. He got nasty with cops. Someone from Eagles or NFL called, and he was released. Again, fans with sources. I don't know who this person actually is. This isn't Adam Schefter. This isn't Jeff McClain. This isn't anybody actually reporting or covering Philadelphia who, again, would not be trying to cover this thing up. They would be trying to get this out to get clicks and further their names because that's what, beat writers and journalists do. Either way, I will monitor this, so be sure to go ahead and subscribe. I'm not saying that nothing is going to come out. Maybe something comes out by the time you've watched this. We'll have an update video, maybe a live as well with Josh Davis if this were to actually happen. But there have been a lot of really sketchy things that have been reported by people on Twitter that turn out to not be true, and until I see some real hard evidence here, I think Philadelphia is just fine. Now, what is true is that Jalen Carter today is hosting a Thanksgiving Impact event at the Boys and Girl Club of Philadelphia, where he's going to be serving like 150 kids sitting down for a Thanksgiving dinner and buffet, all set up by Jalen Carter. That's the Carter that I've come to know and love in Philadelphia, and not this weird fake news self-checkout version. Now, the quarterback the Chiefs have come to know and love is Patrick Mahomes, and while he's been rehabbing that ankle injury he tweaked a little bit during the Bears game a couple of weeks ago, he's getting ready for the rematch of Super Bowl 57, although apparently he told Peyton and Eli yesterday that he uses the same pair of underwear every single game without washing it, saying, quote, I mean, if we're on a hot streak, I can't wash them, No, I don't know. I'm not superstitious, nor would I want to be superstitious regarding not washing my underwear. Now, all underwear jokes aside, Patrick Mahomes is a fantastic quarterback, and I am very curious to see how Philadelphia can handle not only his offense, Andy Reid's offense, but them coming off of a bye week. And we saw what happened in the Super Bowl, right? The Eagles were able to slow down Mahomes early, and then late, he started shredding you. He started torching you. Now, what's interesting, though, is that the Chiefs don't have seemingly as many weapons. They still have Kadarius Toney, remember the Super Bowl punt return? But Toney's been very quiet this season, almost non-existent. I know Kelsey's someone that we've circled already on the show yesterday, but if Philadelphia can slow down Mahomes, get that pass rush, which was impossible due to the field conditions, maybe, on Super Bowl 57, they might have a real shot to go ahead and pull off the quote-unquote upset at Arrowhead and improve to 9-1. Now, I know a lot of people will say that it's not personal against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a brand new season. Nothing's really changed. I know it was the Super Bowl, but still, we're focusing on going 1-0. Not so much with Jordan Mailata. He did say they're going to keep the main thing, but listen to how personal it seems for Mailata Monday night versus the Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs. You looking forward to the game?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really am, man. I really am. I think for me, it's a little bit more personal than some of my teammates. Just because the last time we faced them. But we're always going to keep the main thing, and that's going to 1-0 every week and sticking to a game plan. But personally, I'm taking it personal. I know Nick's going to come in this week and say, same game, same process.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Stick to the process. But I'll never forget the red and gold confetti falling on my head. I'll never forget those emotions from that day. I'll never forget. I haven't even watched the film. in that game. Besides, like, getting the corrections from Stout,
Sure.
I haven't rewatched the game.
The game, yeah.
Like, it's hard for me.
I love that. I think Philadelphia is going to be hungry. I think they're going to be active. And I think they've circled this game and are going to try everything in their power to win and shut up the rest of the National Football League to showcase, hey, we even beat the Chiefs. We're the best team in the league right now. Either way, we got plenty more stuff happening over the next couple of days and weeks. Make sure you guys go ahead and go down below and subscribe. We're right at 27,000 subs. We might be there by the time you're watching this. I greatly appreciate it. And of course, be ready for our Wednesday Link Live, myself and Josh Davis, 7 p.m. Eastern time, when we talk about everything happening this week, all the different roster moves, injury updates on a Wednesday night, take your questions, and of course, get you ready for Chiefs and Eagles on Monday. Cannot absolutely wait for that one. I'm Thomas Mott on Tuesday. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.